Yesterday, December 19th, Gina LaDuca Sadowski passed away at the very young age of 56. Gina worked as a civil clerk at the 37th District Court since 2016. The court administrator, Annette Guattari-Ross, had this to say upon Gina's passing. She was an outstanding employee who was very committed to her job. She was loved by court staff and had a very special bond with the Civil Division court clerks. She will be missed by so many. Her passing is a huge loss for the entire court. Gina was the beloved wife of Keith Sadowski, a long-serving member of this council. She was a loving wife, daughter, sister, aunt, and loyal friend, and the best dog mom ever. Gina was one of the kindest, most generous people I know. On a personal note, Gina has been my friend and bookkeeper for almost 20 years. I'm going to be lost without her. Everyone loved Gina. The world has lost one sweet girl. Council extends our sincere condolences to Keith, Gina's parents, Ron and Pauline, and the entire LaDuca and Sadowski families.
For a moment of silence for Gina Sadowski. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Talking to people this past month, and everybody saying, "Hey, what should we do for Gina's tribute video?" And I'm like, just talk about this memory. It's really going to be easy. It's going to be fun, and then you got to sit in front of a camera, and you have to come up with memories, and you have to come up with things to say, and make it really difficult. But, what's difficult for me is that, I spent 30 years with her, and, what do you narrow down like a couple of minutes as kind of a tribute? And, and then it occurred to me that, hey, why don't I just film it right in the place that she found it was her happy place, which was really her Gina Dome. It's the little pergola that we built in the back patio. This is where we entertained everybody. Family comes into town. This is where we go to at night, and we hang out and have a couple of good bourbons, some Michelob Ultras, and then just sit and chat. When Gina worked real estate, she used this as her office, and I'd come home from work. Hey, can you make a fire? Put the TV out in the Gina Dome. Let's watch a movie, and inevitably it would always be a scary movie because that's what she liked. Entertaining friends and family out here was a big part of what we did, and what we found to be really enjoyable, and I everybody always had a good time out here. So that's, I guess, kind of what I talk about when I look about the memories and what we did. During the fall when we come out here to watch a movie, Gina would be curled up real close to the fire. She'd have her little blanket on, and she'd be sitting there, half cold, but, or half frozen. But no, she didn't want to go in because this is where she wanted to be. This is what she enjoyed, and she knew that we'd only have a couple of more weeks out here, and so she tried to get as much as she could from it. And I think about other memories and stuff, and family reunion, going into New York for long weekends, sitting around the LaDuca kitchen table and talking. Well, you could call it talking, but it's more than just yelling back and forth at each other, because you can't have a quiet conversation with the LaDuca family. But that's what we love. That's what we love. We love that spirited atmosphere that came with her. And I think about, as we move forward, and I sit there and I think to myself, boy, I am really grateful for those 30 years. I'm really grateful that I got to spend that time with her. I'm grateful for the family that I have because of her, and grateful for the friends that I have, and these wonderful memories. I know some people didn't get to spend 30 years with her. Some got only a few, but some got 50 years. So as I move forward, I'm going to continue with the real good, positive thoughts, the feeling of being grateful for everything that she did with me, the encouraging words. So with that, sweetheart, this is your glass. I miss you. I love you. Thank you for everything. And thank you for being there for me. But most of all, I love you.
So here's some memories of Gina. The first one that I sort of remember thinking something interesting was, Keith was, he was honored, and this was an event, like a roast that they did for him that had like a 50s theme to it. And Gina was dressed up like a 50s girl, and Keith had his leather jacket on. And I remember looking at Gina going, she'd make one badass pink lady. Yeah. There was, there's something about Gina. She had a very sweet side, but she had an edge to her. And that's why when I was going to tell her what I actually do for a living, I wasn't so sure she'd be okay with it. So I'm a psychic medium, and I have been for well over 30 years. I knew my good buddy Keith, who I've known from college. I knew he would accept it, but I wasn't so sure about Gina. And to my surprise and delight, she was so open to it and so interested, and she wanted to know more. So shame on me for judging you, Gina. Sorry. She came to all of my workshops. She always wanted to know when the next one was, and she was always very into it. So here's what I have to say. Hang in there. Gina's working it. She's learning a new language. So she wants to get a hold to all of us. I know, Gina. Girl, do anything you can, all right? Because I know you will. I know you will. There's many of us that love you. So she's working on it. And just remember, sight, smell, taste, touch, sound, and our dreams. That's how spirit gets a hold of us. So be patient with yourself. Be patient with Gina. I just remember how excited she used to get when she discovered something in the workshop. So love you, Gina. Let's show everybody you can do this.
Just want to let everyone know we're here at our cottage in Port Austin that Gina loves so much, and we were happy when her and Keith could get here and spend some time, and when they couldn't get here we would spend time in their Gina Dome, and those are really precious memories to us. Miss you, Gina.
Miss you, Gina.
Hello Keith and the LaDuca family. My name is Antonina Servito, and I work with Gina at the 37th District Court in Warren. I came here today to tell you how much I love Gina, how much I truly miss her, and her amazing sense of humor. She had a way of coming up with little nicknames for people that we still use in the department today. She dropped a lot of F-bombs, and we laughed a lot. She was a great friend, she was a good person, and she was loved by many. Keith, did you happen to find Gina's lunch money stash? Better get looking.
Well, my name is Annette Katari Ross, and I don't know much, but what I do know is people that are part of this tribute and are watching this tribute have a lot of love and affection for Gina. And of course, I'm one of those people. I first got to know Keith when he was the city councilman for the city of Warren, and worked with him for many years. It was a lot of great times, a lot of good things that happened that he did for the city. And then I left jobs. Don't worry, it wasn't because of Keith. I left jobs and I went to the 37th District Court in Warren, and that's where I had the opportunity to work with Gina, spend a lot of time with her every day. And I ended up being her supervisor, but I really didn't need to supervise her at all. She was a self-starter, she was efficient, and she was just a great employee. She was our lead landlord tenant clerk in the civil division. And I also quickly connected with her because she's Italian. And I know she's a great loving, fun Italian family. I got to meet some of them, and that was also pretty cool. Gina had a really great work ethic, but what I also like is she had a really cool edge about her. She was fun, but she's also kind of sassy, kind of sarcastic, and she was definitely the real thing. We are all blessed. I feel very blessed to have her in my life. And though it's really hard to process not seeing her every day, not having her here with us at the court, for a multitude of reasons, we're going to focus here on the joy she brought us, the fun, the laughter, and that's going to get us through these times, and also just that'll be our light, our shining light, because she was a shining light. And so God bless Gina, and I thank God that she was in my life.
Gina worked at the 37th District Court in the Civil Division, so she worked with the civil files, the non-criminal files, and here at the court, those files are all paperless. Everything is done electronically, and we have a computer system where those files electronically are transferred between people who need to work on them. And of course, as judge here, my job would be to look at those files and sign orders and review briefs and do a number of other different things with them. And I'm not technologically savvy, not in the least. And I would always call Gina up from downstairs to come in my office and answer a bunch of questions about why I couldn't do thus and such. And the reason why I couldn't do it is I kept forgetting how to do all these different things, even though I had been taught. And I'll always remember how pleasant and patient Gina was with me. She always answered my questions, even though I had asked her many times over and over the same thing, and always made me feel like I was not an idiot, even though I was, for asking those same dumb questions. So Gina, thanks for not making me feel like an idiot.
One of the things I really appreciated about Gina was our shared love of our pets, particularly dogs. It shows a lot about a person, I believe, when they can love an animal as much as any family member. And certainly Gina had that. And I know, the pets that she lived with and raised with Keith, she's with them right now, and I know how much she loved them. So I wanted to share a bit of a poem with you guys about that. It's not the poem that you think, Keith. It's, I think, a little bit better than that one. But here it goes. There's a bridge connecting heaven and earth. It's called the Rainbow Bridge because of its beautiful colors. Just this side of the Rainbow Bridge, there's a land of meadows and valleys with lush green grass. When a beloved animal dies, the animal goes to this place. There's always food and water and a warm spring weather. The old and frail animals are young again. Those who are sick, hurt, or in pain are made whole again. There's only one thing missing. They are not with their special person who loved them so much on earth. So each day they run and play until the day comes when one suddenly stops playing and looks up. The nose twitches, the ears are up, the eyes are staring, and this one runs from the group. You have been seen, and when you are your special friend meet, you take him in your arms and hug him. He licks and kisses your face again and again, and you look once more into the eyes of your best friend and trusting animal. Then you cross the Rainbow Bridge together, never again to be apart. I know Gina is with her beloved pets again, and I know right now they're happy but waiting for their other beloved people in their life. Thank you.
One thing I'll always fondly remember about Gina is the way she liked to keep the temperature in the house. Most people like a certain temperature. It doesn't matter whether it's summer or winter. That's the temperature they like things to be, and they're always comfortable. Not our Gina. If it was summer, she's wearing a tank top, short pants, and the house temperature is set at 65 degrees, and it's like walking into a refrigerator. Wintertime, The house is set to 85 degrees. There's a kerosene heater in the middle of the floor. She's bundled up with 3 layers of sweatpants and flannel and has a blanket around her, and she's bundled up on top of the couch. Summer comfort for her was 65 degrees. Winter, it may as well have been 90, and that was comfortable for her. And just a fond, quirky memory that we'll always have of what a great person she was.
To pay tribute to Gina, I knew there was only one way that I could do so, and that was to go through countless photographs from years past to find the perfect photograph that matched the image of who Gina was that I carry with me in my heart. I will always remember the times that we had together. She will never be forgotten. The smile, the laugh, the great times. This picture's worth 1,000 words to me. I hope it's also worth 1,000 new words to you. You will be missed, but never forgotten.
There are 3 things that remind me of Gina. One, I remember when I was a little girl being at the family reunion, and there was a wolf dog there, and he was huge, and his name was Jagger, and Gina let me pet him, and it was really exciting and a little bit scary. Also, thanks to social media, I know all about the Gina Dome and can only aspire to have something like that someday. And of course, it's Keith and Gina, and their special relationship and the love that they had for each other. You always knew when they were together, like when you saw them, that they really loved each other. So yeah, that's my Gina. When I think of Gina, that's what I think of.
So, what do you say on a tribute to Gina? Well, one memory that sticks in my mind is, obviously everybody knows her love for dogs, and one time we were going out to Aunt Pauline's for a visit, and Gina and Keith were there. Kaylee had just hurt herself. She was old, and she pulled her ACL, and we had to bring her with us because she couldn't get up on her own to go to potty or anything. So we brought her with us, and we were just gonna leave her like in the car and like take her in and out because it was a cool day. And Gina was like under no circumstances. So she put locked Harley in the bedroom so that we could take Kaylee out and put her on a blanket and sit with her, because at that point we didn't even know how much longer she was gonna last. I think we had her for like another 1.5 years after that, but that just shows some compassion. So many memories, I don't even know where to begin. We went down for a visit that was awesome. I got to see the Gina Dome, all the stuff that you see on Facebook. We got to see where they hang out. Got to go to Myers, got to see the Gina Dome, got to do all that. And funny story is I paid Keith for the concert tickets, and he's like, oh, don't tell Gina, and just like pocketed the money. And then like the next day, apparently Gina was like fretting it because it was still on their credit card. And she was afraid to say something to me, so she asked Krista to ask me for the money. And so Krista's like, Renee, did you forget to pay Gina? And I was like, no, I gave it to Keith. And the Keith is over there just busting up laughing, which brings me to the fact that I love their cute little relationship. They were always awesome together. Their banter in person and on Facebook, a lot like us, a lot like my mom and dad, a lot like Gina's mom and dad. A wonderful person to know. Very honored.
Wonderful family.
Very honored to have been so close to her. Got to spend so much time with her, have her as my cousin and have her as my friend. Love y'all.
I'm making this video in honor of Gina and wanted to share. One of the things I'm going to miss most is her sarcastic humor. Relating to dogs, we always seem to find humor in the way we loved our pets and the crazy things we did for our dogs. We also identified with funny, sarcastic husband stories and had many talks and laughs about the way husbands behave. So I'm really going to miss that about Gina. And Gina, you will be remembered always with a smile and a dog.
My cousin Gina. Damn, I miss you. We came up together through the ranks, through the family union from the very beginning. It was you and I. I love you, kid. Always will. You'll be a piece of us forever. No truer, more honest individual that I ever know. No mysteries. Just Gina. Keith, Ron, Pauline, we love you guys. We're here for you. Mary, Krista, Ronnie, your brothers and sisters to me. I love you so much. We move forward now with Gina in our heart and in our soul. She'll always be with us. God bless you all.
Gina, so Sue and I, we love you so much. Here's our story. And it's actually from our last camp that we were at. We were down at the bottom of the hill, down by where Brendan Malad's cabin was, all those cabins down like at the bottom of the horseshoe. And you wanted to get up that hill and go back up to some of the cabins up by where the tent was. And you had your motorized Hell's Angel bike with you that we all loved watching you ride. And because of the hill and because of how, the roads are not all that friendly there at high banks, I had to hold the back of the bike for you so you could get on. And you struggled for a little bit and you finally got on, and all of a sudden you hit the power, and I just remember the bike just flying out of my hands and you going up the hill. And I thought it was hilarious. It was endearing. It was wonderful. And then I couldn't help as I think of that story, how that shows what a strong-willed person you were, how hard you fought at everything, how you never gave up. And if you wanted something, darn it all, you got it. So we love you so very much, and we will always remember you.
It is Kentucky Derby 2023 at the Sykes House. A tradition that has started about, what, 2 years ago?
Three
years ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
With the six of us?
Yes, with the 6 of us. One of the many adventures and traditions that we do. We have traditional vacations.
Seafood fest. Date nights. Vacations.
Bike rides.
Frank and Move. For Keith's birthday.
That nobody wanted to go on.
Nobody wanted to go.
I did.
Except Keith.
We had a sleepover.
And Gina was her favorite.
Gina was not.
No, it was 3 years. It took us 3 years to talk her into it. Oh. And we had a sleepover, and we were in the bar most of the night, but then we heard some really good music. And
We crashed a wedding.
we crashed the wedding.
We crashed
a wedding. Greatest night ever.
The funniest thing of that whole night was Linda and I sitting on the dance floor wondering where everybody was, and we look over and we see Mark and Gina doing shots with the bridal party.
And there's a picture with the bride. That picture. With the group.
Yeah.
That's right.
And because of the band was so good, we followed them
Jedi
thereafter.
mind trip.
Jedi mind trip.
Yeah, we fought for the next, 2 years?
Yep.
It was,
We saw them like 4 times.
We saw them like 4 times, and each time we see them was
An adventure.
an adventure, I have to say.
At a golf
We had
course
to,
down in Grosse Pointe.
Yeah,
in a rainstorm.
in a rainstorm.
It was more than a rainstorm.
But when we saw them at the golf course, you girls got to play with the band.
Yes, that was
On stage.
epic. Yeah.
And we have
In St. Clair Shores.
No, on the golf course.
Well, no, and
Up
then we saw them at St. Clair Shores too.
Yes.
In Grosse Pointe. Oh, Grosse Pointe was
Yeah.
it? Okay.
Yeah,
then we went to St. Clair Shores.
Yeah,
And so then we've had date night for how many years, guys?
7.
7 years. Every Thursday. It's been Wednesdays. It's been Mondays.
we're
it's been
committed.
Thursdays.
We are committed though.
We go bike riding.
Trips to John Sue's.
Cottage,
Up
yeah.
north.
Camping,
Been to the cottage. Good
cottage.
times.
Canoeing.
Take the dogs up to the
Took
cottage.
the boat.
We took boats, the little inflatables
Yeah.
down the Rifle River.
Yeah.
That was a little adventure.
Oh, what about 4th of July's on Sykes' boat?
We've done that a few
forever.
times too.
Yep. So,
And vacations every February.
Mexico.
Get out of the
Jamaica,
snow.
Punta Cana.
Dominican, yeah. It started off as every other year, and then we said, screw that, we're going every year.
Winter became too cold, and it was time to go every year.
Yeah, you can't pass out all-inclusive
It was every other
alcohol.
year because of money and budget. And once we saw how good it was, we're like, oh, we can afford it every year. We figured out
We'll
how
put
to
it away.
Right.
figured out how to make that happen.
Oh, yeah, you have to have priorities and vacation lists.
And so date night started because we thought we would do a new restaurant every week locally. And then we went through COVID.
Well, date night started at the club.
Oh, that's true. That was what
We stayed at the club. And
Club
then,
LaSalle.
Then when we quit smoking,
That wasn't fun, but yes,
we,
when we
we
quit
left the
smoking.
club and then we started date night at different restaurants.
And we had ladies' night.
Ladies'
On
night on
council
Tuesdays.
And what
when
happens
Keith was at
on-
council.
Yeah, what happens at ladies' night stays
Stayed at ladies'
nights to the grave.
To the grave.
And of course, there's the Gina Dome.
The Gina
How
Dome,
many
of
evenings
course.
that we spend in the Gina Dome underneath there, enjoying either staying out of the rain or out of the sun or
watching TV,
or
fires,
just enjoying each other's company.
But with every date night, there was always
charging
dogs.
Charging dogs. But there was always a cocktail. There was always a little beer shot. We always did a shot. So is it?
Gina was always the last one to get her meal. When we went
Oh,
to-
always.
Everybody else
It was
would
a
have
joke.
their food and Gina would be
That was
the
a
last
running
to get
joke.
it.
It was a running joke.
Every now and then, like 1 out of 10, someone else would be last, but it was pretty rare.
And she was the first one to know what song was playing.
Oh, that's true. That's true. And trips to the casino.
Oh, to the
Birthdays.
casino. Birthday. Gina's birthday.
Casino.
Casino.
Watching football in the bar and smoking a cigar.
Yeah.
For the boys. The girls were one-arm
And then they
bandits.
would come and find us and we'd get more money.
And then there was the one year that Gina wanted to go to IHOP for her birthday.
Oh, yeah.
And it was just terrible.
IHOP and Royal Oak.
That was
terrible.
terrible. That was terrible.
I had pancakes for dinner. It was my birthday, wait.
No,
But we did it.
We did it.
We did it.
We did it. So,
Put in the birthday week.
How do you have a beer with pancakes? We did it.
Yeah, it is some Belgium,
Kind of like beer with cereal.
Gotta wake up sometime.
That's right.
Gotta have the first beer sometime. It'll be on.
well, then we done the night always with a toast, a little beer.
Absolutely. To our girl.
Our girl.
To Gina.
Good old boys drinking whiskey and rye, saying this will be the day that I always videoing it. This will be.
Joining this family late, I didn't get to know the young Gina, but I did know the adult Gina, and she seemed like such a loving person. You could see her love for Keith and her family and her puppies, and I have fond memories of that. We can't change what happened, and we can't change all the pain she went through, but we can find courage in her and lead each day to the best of our ability and enjoy what we have together. Tomorrow isn't promised,
And also you have to know that she's definitely in a better place. The Lord needs her, the Lord's got her, and he's going to take care of her. And someday we're all going to meet up again, and we'll have another family reunion, and we're all up there with her. Rest in peace.
Hi everyone, it's me, Joanne DeCenzo. I was so happy to have Gina in my life for as long as I could. She was a great person and I love her dearly. I miss her. Keith, I love you too. I remember the time when you nailed Sonny. You had just come to camp late. You were living in Syracuse and he goes, "Hi sweetheart, how are you?" And you go, "Forgot my name, it's Gina." Singing along at high banks and dancing all night long to Dancing in the Dark. Oh my God, my legs were killing me. Sleeping late. You and Keith coming to Papa's 90th birthday party at the American Legion on your way to Michigan. That was just the sweetest thing you could both do. Meeting us in Las Vegas. Woohoo! Party down. So many good memories, I could go on and on. Sending all my love to Keith. Thank you, Gina. I love you.
Hey, Gina, Linda, go!
So I'd like to start out saying, first of all, I can't believe how lucky I have been to be born into such a family and so well blessed. The thing about Gina that I think I respected the most is I've learned a lot of things from a lot of family members, young and old. But she taught me you don't have to be loud to be heard. And you could talk to her. She had different perspectives that maybe changed my point of view on a few different occasions. But she always paid attention. Gonna miss her tremendously. God bless.
Hey everybody, it's Kathy here from Hudson, Florida. And this tribute is to Gina. One of my cousins that was the most beautiful inside and out. And her and Keith had an amazing marriage. But I'm here to talk about Gina today. So I have a hat on from Patty, and I'm talking about my cousin Gina. And what I have to say about Gina is this. One of my favorite times with Gina was after we'd been away from High Banks for a number of years, we ended up having the first cabin crawl. And everybody started drinking a little bit early, even for the LaDucas. And Gina and I and Marcia were on the porch playing music for everybody. And all the women were on the tables dancing. It was like my brother came back and said, "You know what? We're back. Gina, I love you, miss you. I know you're seeing lots of rainbows and stars. Love you, girl."
Here I go. I'm going to have to read this because I'm not going to remember it all. Gina was my firstborn and tiniest niece. I remember how excited we were about her. She was such a tiny baby. I have the best nieces and nephews and love them all so much. She was very special to all of us, and we're all going to miss her. I always loved her laugh. Ooh, it was the best. Ron and Polly moved a lot and ended up in Syracuse. I wasn't around a lot while she was growing up. I was her confirmation sponsor, which I was thrilled when she asked me. I think it was the early 80s she moved to Texas and lived with Aunt Lynn, my sister. She didn't stay long and spent most of her time with Lynn, and I don't remember spending much time with her then either. We went up for the family reunion, not sure what year it was. Gina was so homesick. We were on our way on Saturday night to stay at San Joanne's before leaving for the airport the next day to go back to Texas. On the way to the house, she started crying in the car and said she didn't want to go back to Texas. There were not many cell phones at the time, so we had to wait to get to the house and try and get a hold of Ronnie at High Banks to let them know to pick Gina up on their way back to Syracuse because she wasn't going back to Texas. She did end up staying in New York. I know her mom and dad were happy she was home again. It was sweet and it was funny. We had a great time in Vegas one of the years we took my mom for her birthday. Her and I and Krista had a lot of laughs sitting on the outside bar of the piano bar at New York, laughing at the intoxicated people making fools of themselves around the bar. We were on the piano. Well, of course, we were also a little tipsy. Over the years, I feel we got closer. We also talked a lot on the phone and messaging because we got two of our dogs, Jagger and Remy, and then Harley and Tally, very close to each other and lost both within a couple weeks of each other. Also, Harley and Tally were the same age, a couple days apart. During COVID, we had a group we did phone video calls with on the weekends. And Gina was on every week, along with Kathy, Michelle, Joni, and Miri. Sometimes Krista, Lisa, and a couple others. Even Joe joined us every now and then. Ooh. Sorry. Turning the page here. It was a great way to help us get through COVID and stay connected to family, especially because the LaDuca reunion had to be canceled that year. Ugh. Going to miss our dogs, Gina. Hope you're having fun and getting to go to the casino with Grandma Rose. I'm sure Aunt Lynn and Uncle Sam are also joining you. Love you so much.
I'm Mariah. I am one of Gina's nieces. I'm gonna share a funny story today. So my mom was actually pregnant with me at my Uncle Keith and Aunt Gina's wedding. And just 3 months later, my parents decided to host Thanksgiving. And my mom's water actually broke at Thanksgiving while they had however many people at the house, 15, 20 plus people at the house. And my Aunt Gina and Uncle Keith being two of them. And so my mom rushed off to the hospital, and my Aunt Gina and Uncle Keith kind of stepped up to the plate and were like, how can we help? And just started making all the food. And my older sister was actually born only a week before me, several years, but like a week before me. And she was like celebrating her birthday at the time. So they were like making her birthday cake and just were like, wow, it was just a mess with me being born at that time. It was just bad timing and everything. I'm like, sorry guys. So they were just really stepping up to the plate, and that has just, I wasn't there, but I hear the story every year at Thanksgiving, and I really appreciate them doing that for me. So that's quite a funny story, and just every holiday that they've been there for me after that, and every graduation and just dance recital that they've been to, and just everything that they've showed up to since then. They've just really been a supportive couple, and I just really appreciate everything Aunt Gina and Uncle Keith have always done for me, so thank you guys. And just while I'm thinking of it, one thing that I have always shared a love for with Aunt Gina would probably be just like the love for dogs and the love for the color black. And I'm starting to wonder if I got my love for dogs and the love for color black from her. And maybe I wouldn't love dogs as much if I hadn't have grown up with her dogs always being around me. And I wouldn't have two dogs today if it weren't for her. So thank you, Aunt Gina, for that, and thank you for my love for the color black as well. It looks very flattering on me, so thank you. I love you so much, and I'm glad I was able to make this video. I'm sorry I couldn't be there, but I love you so much.
It's not a little beer, but this one's for you. Love you and miss you, Aunt Gina. Salut.
One of my favorite memories of Gina is the very first year that she was married. She came to our house in 1997 for a Thanksgiving event. I say event because that was the day my daughter was actually born, my middle daughter, Mariah. So what made it exciting was she wasn't actually due till December 1st. And Keith and Gina decided that they were going to come over the night before because they were for sure thought I was going to go into labor that night, which is exactly what I did. I was able to get the turkey put in the oven and all the fixings with all their help the night before. And that morning at 8 o'clock, I left for the hospital, and I left poor Gina and Keith to not only deal with my first Thanksgiving crowd at my new house, but also preparing the meal, watching my oldest daughter, who was only 6 at the time, and decorating the birthday cake. So Gina, really appreciate the help you gave me that day. Love ya.
Stories about Gina. I could tell you a lot of stories about Gina growing up. When we were kids, she used to get in trouble a lot. She used to skip school, smoke, take mom's car for a joyride while mom and dad were at work. She usually got caught. And then I would get in trouble along with her because I would never tell on her. So I'd get the same punishment that she got. That's pretty much how our childhood grew up. Gina getting in trouble, and me right alongside with her because I wouldn't tattle. But that's what siblings do. We stick up for each other. As we got older, Mom and Dad moved to West Virginia, and Gina and I decided to stay up here and get a place together. And that first year of being up here by ourselves, my birthday came along, and Gina wanted to make it a special one. Since Mom and Dad weren't here, Krista, Ronnie, just us two. And she went out of her way, made me a special dinner, had the whole evening planned. That's what Gina did. Took care of us growing up and in adulthood, and thereon after, she was always there for us. She was my best friend. Krista eventually moved back up here, and the three of us were pretty much inseparable. We went out, we worked together at the same place, we went out every weekend together in the same group. We were best friends, and we treated each other like best friends. Don't get me wrong, we'd get mad at each other every now and then, but we treated each other like best friends. I can remember Keith coming into the picture. Now, Gina used to pick a lot of losers for boyfriends. Now you finally had somebody decent, and Gina wanted nothing to do with him. He would call, and she would hand me the phone. You talk to him. You talk to him. You go out with him. Well, eventually Keith wore her down. And eventually, you know the story, they got married, and they were happy. There's one thing I can say about Gina. Every picture I've seen, she looks so happy. So happy. And I'm glad for that. Because I'm going to miss her. And I love her. And I know you're with us. And always will be. Love you, Gina.
What? Okay. Gonna try it again.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Gina's dad. Keith asked us to tell some stories about her growing up and things she did. Well, one thing, when we moved to Syracuse, the job took us there. Oh, Gina might have been 6, Mary 5 or so. Well, they got mad at my mom or me, whoever. They decided they were going to run away. So we said, fine. Hey, go ahead, run away. So they took off, they packed their little bags, and they started walking down a sidewalk. Well, they'd walk a little ways, they'd stop, look back at the house, seeing if we were trying to get them back. Then they do it again, and they maybe did it 3-4 times. Eventually, they stopped. They might have been 100 feet or so from the house. They looked at each other, and then I guess they decided maybe it's not such a good idea. So they took off. They headed back to the house. Now, we never said a word, and they never said anything. They put their little bags away, and that was the end of it. They never tried to run away again. Then, the next thing, we move up to Syracuse, farther up north. Bought a house up there. And Gina was maybe 14. So we decided, well, I think, she should be able to babysit while we were working. Well, seemed to be going fine. Then Pauline started to see little scratches on her car and maybe a bump here or there. And she says, I think they're driving the car around. I says, nah, they wouldn't do that. Well, come to find out, eventually she took off taking them for little joyrides down the road. Thank God it was hardly any houses and not much traffic. Well, a neighbor had seen them, told on them, and that was the end of her driving. So that was a couple of the stories. And I guess one more I could add is one year I went to Vegas by myself, and then Gina met me there. Well, she liked to gamble, I liked to gamble, and we just had a riot together. One day we walk into the hotel, and we wanted some information, so I asked the lady, my daughter and I want to find out about such and such a thing. Well, the lady looks at me, looks at Gina, sort of gives me a dirty look like, yeah, right, that's your daughter. And anyways, they thought I had a girlfriend, I guess. So that's about it. Thanks for listening. Yeah. And again.